Welcome to the Why Not Us podcast. All right, welcome, boys. Week 11 we are for the episode. Week 10 college football, episode 11, Why Not Us podcast. Early morning pod with fellas this morning.
Yes, indeed. Get the sleepies out.
Yes, sir. Well, we're coming off a great Saturday of college football. Huge win by the Cougs on the road at Ames and Iowa State. We'll get into the game a little more, but I think we figured out a winning formula, and that is about, let's say, end of the first quarter, middle of the second quarter, I will continue to send out my weekly game is over text. We're going to lose, to which Jace will respond, get that negativity out of here. There's a lot of football left to play, to which we will turn around and win the game in the second half. And that has worked through 8 games. So just fully expect next when we play Texas Tech that I will be sending out messages in the first quarter about how we're going to get our butts kicked.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, man. And I mean, like you said, we'll get into the game, but a lot of my response is me talking to myself too, because like I'm feeling those negative things. I'm like, oh crap, we're gonna lose, but then I'm like texting you and I'm reading it to myself to like remind myself, hey, there's a lot of football left to play.
Yeah, well, if it works, I mean, you two, how do you feel about the game? Oh, I feel good, so we're gonna lose. I guess if that's what works for the next game, you guys just keep it up.
Yeah.
Well, and I hate to say that, but like I'm looking at the stat line, I'm looking at the team, the injury list, like just you go down the whole list of things, and by every measure, we should have beat Iowa State like we did. But the track record is when we're in a situation that we should win, we lay an egg.
Yes.
Although that was not the case this week, thank heavens.
Yeah. Track record maybe a few years ago, but let's stay current here.
Yeah, everyone was asking how we feeling about the game, and my response was always like, I'm nervous with how confident I am. That's what makes this game really, really scary.
Yep. No, 100%. But thankfully the Cougs played awesome in the second half. Got the win 41-27 over Iowa State on the road, in where they, from 2 minutes left in the second quarter, BYU finished the game 31-3 in score against Iowa State, which that is crazy. That's an insane score. So it was 24-10. Am I right at halftime?
Yep, that is correct. Yep. Well, we scored the touchdown right at the halftime.
17. Yeah, right at halftime.
24-17.
Gotcha. Wow. Yeah, great game. So, I'll just open it up to you guys. Like, overall, what did you like from the game? Just kind of thoughts about how the team looked.
Well, I'll give both teams credit. So, part of the reason that we were a little nervous about the game, obviously, play one, Iowa State goes 75-yard touchdown, first play of the game, catches us on a corner blitz, and they punch us right in the mouth. And they had a clear scheme set up for us, and they had a bye week to prep for us and to execute that scheme. And it caught us off guard, but also credit to us is we countered every single blow. So like they'd hit us and we matched it, and they hit us and we matched it, and we just kept answering, which is why when by the time Houston had sent that text, I was on the verge of giving up hope as well, but I was seeing a pattern that like, wow, we're hanging in here, this is different. We didn't just let the game go. We matched, we countered, and when we scored at half, right before half, I knew we were going to win the game. I just knew that the right adjustments were going to be made at halftime. The defense was going to come out, and I wasn't expecting a full stall. I wasn't expecting a scoreless half, but I was expecting some adjustments to be made to slow them down. And then our offense was not going to slow down. I believe that the talent and the injuries that Iowa State had, that was eventually going to play out, especially on BYU's offensive side of the ball, and we were going to win. And man, oh man, did we have a good second half.
Yes, we did.
Yeah. No, yeah. So, I mean, the way that game started, I mean, there's two plays. So we have the 75-yard touchdown pass to start the game. And then was it the second half? They had the big long, like 75-yard run anyway. So two plays, 150 yards, So with that all being said, when you start looking at stats, and you can't take those off the board, but it does give a little more perspective in there. I mean, the first word that comes to mind for me is resilience.
Mm-hmm.
We did get punched in the mouth. It was not I didn't think we would go down that far, but it's not unexpected. It's homecoming. Iowa State had the bye week. They're playing for the conference championship of lives. They already had 2 losses. You knew they were going to come out swinging. And in those type of games, I always maintain if you can get through the team's punches coming out, because they're going to hit you hard, and that emotions, and then you get into the actual game flow itself, which didn't happen until about probably the second quarter in this game. Then we settled in. I will say in the past, think about if we had an injury to our starting running back, an injury to one of our starting linebackers, we would be in trouble. We didn't miss a beat. No, not that we don't need those guys. And I hope LJ Martin is not seriously hurt and he comes back soon, because we need him big time. But with that being said, the resilience of the team, Parker Kingston, Chase Roberts, a couple stud receivers, just awesome. We've got a great tight end, Carson Ryan. So, to Jace's point, the team stepped up. We did what we needed to do. A-Rod called a great game, exposed their weaknesses like we should have. It was a great game. In a nutshell, I think that's kind of how this team has been the last 2 years. We're going to win. We're going to find a way to win. 4 turnovers for Iowa State. We took it away 4 times. We had 0. That's huge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no doubt. And I thought that it was nice to see us throw the ball, and to your point, Dad, we kind of took advantage of their weakness in the secondary. I mean, we had a lot of 5 wide sets, passing out of 5 receivers, 4 receivers, letting Bear air it out to the tune of 356 yards passing, which is amazing. I mean, he hasn't been over 250, I don't know, for the year in a game. So yeah, just really impressive to see us adjust, come in for the win. The crazy thing is, so how many yards did they have in the first half? Almost 400, is that right?
3, was it? Yeah, because I think they had 200 in the first quarter, did they not? Like 190, and at halftime it was 300 and something, close to 400 in the first half.
Yeah. So I mean, holding them to 100 and I don't know, less than 150 yards in the second half and 3 points is just what an adjustment by the defense. I don't know that I've seen a game by BYU where the coaches have made such adjustments, and maybe it was the players as well, that they have made those big of adjustments in a game that it swings it that hard.
Yeah. I mean, the challenge was, effectively on the defensive line to go and get some pressure. I don't know what triggers, that. I don't know. I'm not a coach or an analyst, so I don't know what scheme was drawn up to allow us to get more pressure. But for whatever reason, whatever was said in that locker room and whatever adjustment was made by the coaching staff, we dominated on the defensive line, and the secondary played great. Our defense was stellar in the second half.
And Houston and I were watching it together, and I made the comment when Anisi Purcell, I believe it was, got the sack right at the end of the second quarter. I said that could be the turning point in the game, because that was the first time that our D-line had actually got into the backfield, and he made a big play. And that seemed to me to be the turning point of the game. They came out the second half, and it was just domination after that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And kind of just going back to what Jace was saying earlier, that we were kind of trading blows earlier in the game. And, you take away that first touchdown play by Iowa State on the first play of the game, and we traded scores. Yeah, we traded scores. And just after the first quarter and going into the second half, we scored that touchdown, with a few seconds left in the second quarter. And I thought to myself, I cannot believe that we're only down a touchdown in this game. The way it went, I was like, man, I can't even believe we're in this game and we get the ball. We have a chance to tie it up. which we did in the third quarter, which is, I mean, man, kudos to this team. And I think Satowala and a couple other defensive players were interviewed after the game, and they said, sometimes it doesn't happen often, but sometimes you need the offense to carry the defense, and they did that
Yeah.
in this game where they just responded. If the defense couldn't stop them, but the offense just made sure that they responded in kind with a score and kept the game close. And, I was talking to my dad as well after Satowala had the interception, the pick six in the third quarter or fourth quarter. I thought, this is something that we have watched over the years, championship teams, Alabama, the Clemsons, the Ohio States, be in close games, and we're usually rooting for the underdog team in those games. Those teams come up with a play or plays in those games to win them and not lose to the underdog team. And we made championship type plays in this game to make sure that we didn't lose it. That pick six is one where you just create 7 points out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
3 for 3 on fourth down for BYU. I mean, just multiple plays. The Parker's touchdown catch,
Yeah.
Bears touchdown run. I mean, those are all just championship plays that we've seen out of other teams throughout the year that BYU was doing yesterday, which, dare I say, looked like a championship football team.
So then to add to that, it was just amazing listening to the post game, listening to, and I can't remember the player who it was on special teams, that they had actually, K-pop had noticed that Iowa State's gunners didn't pay attention to the ball on the punts, and they had practiced all week long blocking the gunners into the ball. And they do it. I'm just like going, holy cow, are you kidding me? That to me, that's just awesome. That just tells you what kind of coaches we have and the detail that goes into the game, and to practice and then actually execute it in the game. Those two plays I thought were pivotal, huge. The pick six, and then that punt muff or kick that we blocked him into it, and we get the ball back. 14 points off those two. That was huge.
Yep. I also want to, and we do it every week, but just praise Bear Bachmeier to the max. We've relied on his running game and his ability to get us into the end zone in games past and put the team on his back in that way. To have your first string, second string, and third string running back, I'm saying second string because Sione is gone, but to basically be on your fourth string running back in the fourth quarter and, going into halftime with your running back gone, to put the pressure that we did on his throwing capability and for him to answer the way he did was absolutely incredible. He is legit. He carried the team offensively and answered in dramatic fashion. And I'm going to echo what Drake Toll on Locked On Big 12 tweeted out. And he tweeted out by halftime that if BYU comes back and wins this game without LJ Martin, there needs to be talk about him being the best quarterback in the Big 12.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I just say that the Big 12 Freshman of the Week needs to just be renamed to the Bear Bachmeier Big 12 Award?
Yes.
He's going to win it again. That'll be 6 out of 7 weeks. Or
he might win
week 8,
Offensive Player of the Week, period. Yeah.
Good dude.
Yes.
I mean, not just Freshman of the Week, but Offensive Player of the Week. Yeah.
He answered the call, man. We put a lot of pressure on him. Most would falter and struggle. And especially because you knew Iowa State was they planned for his running ability, and they did pretty dang good at stopping it. I think he still had 50-something yards or whatever, but they did really good at stopping his designed quarterback runs. And so we didn't rely heavily on that. And we had to rely on his ability to throw the ball, and he just executed so well.
Yeah. And I wonder if there's a couple of factors here. It looked like Bear was pretty banged up from the Utah game. I think he was hurting quite a bit. If I'm not mistaken, we maybe had 2 designed quarterback runs, 3 maybe in this game. The one for the touchdown and maybe a couple of others and a QB sneak. But even on the RPOs, I don't think he kept it maybe one time on the RPOs. So you wonder if the game plan was pretty heavily in favor of him not running the ball. And I don't know that that was only scheme. I think that was we need to give this guy a break from
Yeah.
25 carries a game. But yeah, to your point, Jace, to put the team on his back and his arm in this game. I mean, at some point, BYU fans and everybody across the country has got to realize I think they got something special on their hands here. Like
Yep.
this kid is putting up some crazy numbers. True freshman or not, he's played like a great quarterback, and we're through 8 games and he only has 3 turnovers, and none of them in pivotal moments of the game where it changed the game to flip the momentum to the other team, or it was late in the game and it cost us the football game.
Yep.
Like his turnovers have been, for the most part, inconsequential. And that's anyway, yeah.
And in some ways not entirely his fault. There's a little luck involved, whatever. Like I don't want to make excuses for turnovers, but I will say it goes back to what we said preseason, that the biggest difference between this quarterback and what we would have had with Jake Retzlaff, or what we did have, and then our hope of what Jake Retzlaff would be, we were just going off of what we knew. Jake Retzlaff had 3 turnovers in the first game for us last year, or first game against SMU. I'm not counting FCS opponent, but like,
yeah,
for Bear to come up against better talented teams and to perform
100%.
the way he has, it's our hot take is going to go down and last through the test of time. We improved in the quarterback room, and it's not a diss to Jake. I love him. It's great, but we improved in the quarterback room drastically with this guy.
And you heard it first here on the Why Not Us podcast. We go back before the season started. I mean, all 3 of us were singing his praises. I have to give a shout out to the O-line, though. The freaking O-line. I mean, early on in the game, there was a few, chinks in the armor, but holy cow, they stepped up their game too, just like the D-line did. But the O-line, they gave Bachmeier time. Kudos to A-Rod for getting him out of the pocket a little bit. Those guys, always blitzing, just rolling him out just a little bit, enough to get the pressure off. But the O-line stepped up and they blocked their butts off.
Yeah, they did. And I thought we mixed in the draw plays with Preston Rex at the right times. Bears just got a great job at selling the play action, whether it's a play action draw or a play action pass. He's done a great job at doing that. And so I thought we mixed in that pretty well. But like I said early on, we just lined up our receivers and we just threw all over them. I mean, yeah, I mean, because at a point where they had loaded the box, 7, 8 guys all game, just bringing the house. They were making, they had different stunt blitzes and this and that. And just talking to the point of the O-line. O-line obviously made some adjustments, but we also took the pressure off of Bear because we just started passing and forced them into 8-man drop. And they couldn't hang. Our receivers were just getting open in the 8-man drop. I mean, it was defense Eliza Tuiaki, and we're just going to let teams throw all over us. So, yeah, I just couldn't be more impressed with Bear. I mean, his passes were on the money. He had a couple that were a little bit behind, but there again, he's putting the ball in a place where either his receiver is going to catch it or no one's going to catch it.
Right.
So,
such a good game by him. Good game by the team. I mean, what else can we say other than just so dang proud of this team and our ability to come back?
Well, and the other thing, just a quick, before we move on, is our corners in the second half. I mean, kudos to those boys, man. Shout out to Alexander and Evans again, Shmev out there. They had 2 huge plays to knock balls away at the goal line. So we all game long, we were, earlier on in the game, we're like, let's man up. And sure enough, down at the end there, Jay Hill mans them up and we make big plays and stop them. So defense struggled a little, but the thing I'm most impressed about is they didn't quit. They just kept fighting. And then we eventually won the battle. So I know we've been talking a ton of offense, but gosh, defensively, it's still a pretty darn good performance when you get punched in the mouth and you're down 24-10 and you only let them score 3 points in the last 2 quarters and change.
Yeah, I mean, they only scored 27 points at the end of the day. I mean, that's how many points we gave up against Arizona.
Yeah,
in an overtime game. And defense is just, I mean, it's funny, you look at the box score, so they go 17 points first quarter, 7 second quarter, 3 third quarter, 0 fourth quarter. I mean, that's just, the defense just got better and better. And That the pick six, I'll just want to highlight that play one more time because from the snap, I watched Satawala when they
Yeah.
ran the tight end in motion, and I saw him back up as he was manned on him, and then to make the break on the play like he did was just, man, what a
Yeah.
read, what a play. I mean, that's a championship play right there.
Yep.
So
Well, no, I can't remember if it was Satswalo or Lutui, or I can't remember who it was being interviewed at the post game, but he said something that I kind of resonate with, and I can't wait for us to finally figure out. But he's like, this is the result of us playing a good half of football, and imagine what we are capable of when we play, a full 4 quarters of football, and I can't wait for us to figure that out because when we do, I think it's going to show, and we're gonna dominate a game here soon. Teams
Yep.
are coming out with giving us our best in the first half, or giving us everything they got in the first half, and we're managing the blows, picking up our shorts and coming back out and answering in the second half. But when we come out and give it to a team in the first half while doing the same thing and managing and getting better throughout the game, we're going to have a blowout game here pretty soon.
It's funny you say that because Houston and I had that same conversation. I believe it was. We talked about that just sometime this week, that we have not played a complete game yet. Yet we are now 8-0 and we haven't played a complete game. So, here's some good karma throwing it out there that Texas Tech is the game that we go play.
Let's
a complete
go.
game.
I hope so.
I mean, if you could pick one on the schedule,
that would be the one.
Want. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So we got Texas Tech in 2 weeks, so we're coming up on the bye. So we'll probably preview Texas Tech a little bit more next week. Preview that game a little more, but we can just talk a little bit about the Big 12. We've got a lot of teams still right there with 1 loss, 2 loss. I mean, we kind of briefly talked before we got on here about Utah beating Colorado. What did they score? 53-7 was that the final?
Yep.
And Utah's a team that's still. I mean, they've lost to the 2 best teams in the Big 12 right now, which is tough to overcome in terms of a tiebreak or a chance at the championship, but they're by no means out of the Big 12 championship race.
No.
So you got a team like Utah, you got Cincinnati who's still undefeated, Houston with 1 loss.
Yep.
Yeah. So there's a lot of teams still in the race for the Big 12, and Hans Olsen alluded to it on the postgame. He's like, last year at this time, we all bought our tickets to Arlington.
Mm-hmm. I was one of them.
Yeah, we were punched the ticket. We're in the Big 12 championship, and we have a long road ahead still.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's some alternate universe out there that you got Houston and Cincinnati playing in the Big 12 championship game.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that far stretching to imagine that. had that thought last night. I'm like, holy cow, Cincinnati, Houston. I sure hope that's not who it is, because that means we're not there. But there's a possibility to how crazy it is.
Yeah, I mean, since he's been kind of the sleeper team of the Big 12, they just kind of secretly, kept doing their thing. And their only loss is to Nebraska, which is not a bad team at all. And so for them to kind of quietly sneak up, and now they're second in the conference, and that could, in theory, be one of our biggest games of the year, which is not what we anticipated preseason at all.
No.
And so, yeah, I mean, I think I mentioned this last week on the podcast, or I've texted it out. They've got a pretty brutal schedule left. They got Utah next week. They got us. They overcame Baylor a lot better than I thought they would, but they had essentially Baylor, Utah, us, and TCU left, I believe, and Kansas might be in there as well.
I think they have Colorado in there, maybe.
Okay, I can't remember who the other team is, but definitely not an easy schedule by any means. So it'll be interesting to see how they answer. I think next week, based on how they play against Utah, is going to be my reaction on how serious we take them, right? And the team and the players and the coaches, they're all going to come out and say we treat every team the same, and you should in college football. But as a fan, I think it's easier for us to be like, okay, like, yeah, we got this team, and we'll just trust our team to do the work, versus like going into Texas here in 2 weeks. Like I as a fan, I'm like, yeah, this is going to be a tough game. Like we're a little worried here. So yeah, Cincy sleeper team, Texas Tech. There's a world where Utah's still in the title conference game. Just a lot of craziness is going to go on over the next 4 weeks, and I just pray that we're still at the top by the end of it.
Yeah.
No, and our bye week couldn't have come at a better time. Get some guys healthy. I mean, we don't know what's going on. I mean, Jack Kelly had his right arm in a sling, and he had previously hurt his left arm. So who knows what that's going to be? LJ, we don't know. It sounds like Ciale, Sarah, it will be back. It sounds like that's what they put out there, that he'll be back for Texas Tech. But man, LJ, that's a tough one. I sure hope that's not a long term. I mean, so big picture there. You've got 2 weeks to heal up. If you do have to hold him out of Texas Tech, give him 3 weeks to heal up. That's, if it's not season ending or needing surgery, 3 weeks, that's some pretty good time to heal up for the guys, if you had to go that far.
Yeah, the question he raised, honestly, is like, he wasn't in a sling, he wasn't in a cast, he didn't leave, he stayed and watched the game. So you're like, okay, he's good. But then, he's kind of tearing up and getting emotional, which you don't often see if a guy's just out for one game. So then, the worry wart in me is wondering if he got some news that he didn't particularly want to hear. And you're wondering and thinking worst case scenario that he got told he's going to be out for a while, or knows the injury enough that he might be out for a while. I don't know. I don't want to speculate or, put anything out there. But yeah, I was definitely concerned after I saw him tearing up at the end of the game, or even in the middle of the game.
Yeah, it does make me wonder, because LJ is not a guy that typically shows a lot of emotion. So to see that out of him was a little bit concerning. I mean, the good news is, if it was a serious injury, they probably would have had something on him, a brace, an ice pack. You would assume that, there's something that needs to happen there. The other consideration is, with this training staff they have, with the exception of Jack Kelly, who probably just said, "I will play no matter what you tell me." They've been pretty precautious. People get a little bit banged up, they pull them out. They don't push their luck. Not a lot of guys playing hurt at all, which is great, in terms of keeping the team healthy. And to Dad's point about Texas Tech, I mean, I hate to say this, but if you're going to drop a game, and hold everybody out to make sure you win the last 3 games, it's Texas Tech. Like you don't want to lose any games, but in the bigger picture, winning the last 3 games of the season outside of Tech is way more important than losing your guys for the rest of the season, because you're trying to beat Texas Tech.
And then you lose 2 or 3 down the stretch because you've got 4 guys out for the season because you played them too soon. As much as I don't want to say it, the big picture of it is if you got to hold them out 1 more week, 3 weeks to heal up, that's a long time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, and I mentioned this to Houston as well. LJ, I think, is going to show a pretty big difference if he's gone. Like we're going to noticeably see him missing. On the defensive side of the ball, I've been a little bit surprised because, yes, we've had Jack back for 2 weeks now, but he's definitely not been 100%. I'd even go as far as to say he's probably at 50%. There were some tackles he missed at Utah because he couldn't wrap around fully, and just his rotation's a little off. And so we've, in theory, dealt with a 50% Jack for 2 weeks now. Not saying that like we don't need him. We definitely need Jack Kelly.
Yeah.
But I have been very impressed with our depth and our ability to not skip a beat on the defensive side of the ball. DeMooney's gone. Yes, we hurt on the first play of the game against Iowa State with, the mistake that Satawala made. But at the end of the day, he came and showed out. And so once we do get these people back, Acera and Prasis and DeMooney and all these starters, we're going to be just fine. And so, to Gordon's point to start this part off, the bye week could not have come at a better time.
Yeah, and we get JoJo Phillips back for Texas Tech.
That'll be big too.
That's big.
Which will be interesting to see moving forward, how much we rely on the pass game, adding another receiver to the mix that people do not have film on for this season. It was the best receiver on the team. I mean, depth chart wise, he's your number 1. So you wonder if that opens things up even more for Chase and Parker, or if JoJo gets some one-on-ones, that kind of stuff. So it'll be good. I think they'll be ready to go, healed up. Just good to get a bye week this week and be ready to go. So anyway, Okay, well, yeah, we'll talk a little bit more about Texas Tech next week. I'd like to see some more information about their quarterback situation as next week goes on, and we'll
Yeah.
kind of know a little bit better what we're looking at going into next week. But with that, I think we'll take it over into our pick'ems. Okay, well,
Yeah.
let's start it off, Jace. As always, we'll send it to you, and then Dad, give us our games.
So I'll start by saying I apologize. The Instagram side of things lacked this week. It was a little bit off on our timing, and so I did not get the pick'ems or the top three in on Instagram. And so I apologize to the listeners who usually participate in that. That's on me.
So I will let's throw just one thing real quick. If that being the case, we'll get to it after this, but we're gonna skip our top three this week and have a little different segment. So I'd say this week we can throw out our top three from last week, put that out on Instagram this week, and just have people go that way.
Sure. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sounds good.
But yeah, crazy week of football. Houston made big strides this week and ultimately took the lead in our totals. Gordon also, yeah, Gordon also a big week after coming off a flat 0 last week. So he made up some ground as well. So the totals after this week, Houston sitting at 29 points. I am at 28 points, and Gordon is at 27 points. So really tight race, but Houston had some big ones. So last week, the Utah-Colorado game, Gordon picked Utah, and boy, oh boy, did they show out. And so that was a big win for Gordon. Houston stole one from us with the Houston win over ASU.
Yep.
That was a very good game. ASU, credit to them. They hung in there. Sam Levitt was in and out the whole game, which was kind of interesting. They never officially pulled him, but he got hurt, pulled him, came back in, pulled him again. And it was just kind of a weird dynamic for ASU. I didn't watch a lot of the Kansas State game, but it looked like Kansas State pretty much dominated, which was surprising.
Yeah, crazy note on that game. They've won 17 in a row in that rivalry.
Okay, yeah, that's crazy.
That is crazy. Probably would have changed my pick.
Yeah, Houston, I mean, he got another one on us on that one, being the only one that chose Kansas State. My only point for the week was the Vanderbilt Missouri game, which was wild. Came down to inches.
That close on the Hail Mary.
Yeah, that's a tough way to go down to catch a Hail Mary, but still be just inches away from scoring. But Gordon and I scored on the Vanderbilt one as well. Houston had pretty much a gimme with the Stanford-Miami game. Like, if you got 30-point spread, it's pretty easy to just say, yeah, cover that. And Stanford did. It was close. I think it was like 41-7.
Stanford played well.
Yeah. Gordon with the Michigan State game did not – wait, I can't remember. Did you cover that? I might have.
Yeah, that was a 14-point spread, and I think it ended up being 11.
Yep. So I gave you the point for that. That's my bad. So you had the 1, the 2, and the 3. Yep. Okay. And then I did Illinois at Washington. Washington was a 5-point favorite, and I chose Illinois to win, and Washington absolutely dominated. So I did not get any points there. So great week of college football. Lots of crazy stuff going on. I expect no less going into November. And so with that, I'll let Gordon take over here on the pick'ems coming up.
Yeah. So, big games. I think every week there's big games in the Big 12. You're down to the last 4 or 5 weeks.
Sorry,
man.
I'm sorry. I don't want to interrupt, but we got to get the record straight here. Stanford did not cover the 30. They lost by 35.
Yeah. It was 42-30 to
42-7.
So hold up.
Yeah. That is, yeah.
Oh.
So you're going to have to
after the review.
So hold on. What was the final score?
42-7 Miami. They won by 35.
35. The spread was 30.
Okay, so Houston does not get that one. So that makes the totals. Thank you for catching that. That makes the totals Houston 28, Jace 28, and Gordon 27.
Nice. There we go.
We're going to overtime.
Yeah.
Can I just say Dad, having 2 weeks where you have not picked one game right and you're only one out is insane.
Yeah, he had a
You've had
great
2 weeks
start
where
to the season.
you've
Yeah.
had zero.
Well, yes, it is
Anyway,
pretty crazy. You are correct.
anyway.
I'm like the
Okay,
Cougs.
sorry, but
I'm like the Cougs. I'm resilient. I keep coming back.
yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So anyway, yeah. The last, I mean, well, I guess 5 weeks. We got 4 games and we got a bye week. So you got 5 weeks left to go in the regular season. Every game or every week, there's going to be 4 or 5 games that are going to determine the conference champion. So again, just reiterating, how fun is it to be in a conference and you have these conversations? Anyway,
Absolutely.
yeah. With that being said, this week we got Arizona State at Iowa State. That one, Arizona State, is Sam Levitt in or is he out? Their backup quarterback's pretty good, but he's not Sam Levitt. Uh,
mhm.
Hate him or like him, he's a good quarterback and he makes stuff happen. I'm a little surprised that they didn't play a little better at home against Houston, but maybe Houston's more legit. Iowa State, that's a tough team. I think going on the road, I've got to go with Iowa State on that one, where it's at Iowa State. They showed some stuff. They're playing at home. I still think they're a quality team.
Yeah. I'm a little bit back and forth, and I think Sam Levitt here is the difference in my pick. I'm also going to take Iowa State. I I mean, Arizona State's defense is pretty good. I mean, they beat Texas Tech, held them to not very many points on an offense that had been going crazy.
Yeah.
Uh, I don't know. I feel like Sam Levitt is Arizona State, and if he's even a little bit banged up or questionable in this game, I just think Iowa State, coming off the loss to us, is going to be hungry to get a win. So,
Yeah, I mean, it's going to sound like a broken record. That if I knew that Sam Levitt was going to be playing the whole game and be fine and not, I would have picked Arizona State because I think they're a really, really good football team with him in the game, and they have a chance to beat anybody in this conference. But it is apparent that he is the team. When he's gone, they struggle. The Utah game shows that. When he was in and out, and I watched that Houston Arizona State game, they were struggling without him. So with that, and kudos to Iowa State and the rematch coming up from the conference championship, I think they got a chip on their shoulder. So I'm going Iowa State.
Yeah, no, that's the key there. If Sam Levitt was a healthy 100%, I think I'd go Arizona State, but they're just not the same team without him.
Yep.
UCF at Baylor. UCF is an average team this year in the Big 12. I mean, they can pull an upset here or there. Baylor, just who knows what Baylor is, but it's at home. Baylor's still got a great quarterback. They are a well-coached team. UCF, until they prove different, that they can go on the road and beat a quality team, I got to go with the home team with Baylor on that one. They're still a quality program.
yeah, I agree. No, I've got Baylor as well. I think they're playing at home. I just think they're the better team, like you said, better coach team. Yeah, crazy to think that Houston, after the season they had last year, is playing as well as they had. The newcomers to the Big 12 kind of sticking it to everybody else. So interesting. But I think Baylor will win this one.
Yeah, this is one of those games that could be, the big upset for UCF. I don't think that's going to be the case here. It definitely could be. It's one of those that you kind of look back on a season on and be like, okay, yeah, that was it. But give me Baylor on this one. I think they win at home. It'll be close though.
Yeah, and the struggle UCF has had, and I haven't watched a game for a week or two, but they've played 2 or 3 quarterbacks. They've had injuries. There's just offensively, there's the consistency hasn't been there when you're playing 2 or 3 quarter because of injury. It's not because performance. All right, Cincinnati, Utah. This one will be a game that will go a long ways into the conference championship here. Cincinnati is right up there at the top with no conference losses. Utah destroyed Colorado. It's so hard from week to week to know matchups because it's a different team. Cincinnati. This we'll see. I think. If Utah plays like they did against Colorado, I don't think this is a blowout, but I think at home Utah takes this one from Cincinnati. Home field advantage, I think, is huge here. Cincinnati traveling across the country. I don't know what time the game is. I haven't seen a game time on it yet, but if it's a late night game, that bodes well for Utah as well.
Yeah. I just don't know where I'm at with Utah. I mean, they were coming into the BYU game. They were averaging, it feels like 40 points a game outside of Tech. was the only other team they played that they didn't score that many, but they've been scoring points like crazy. Some of that is probably plus 7 points for running up the score in every game. So it's
Yeah,
tough to, tell exactly how the performance is. But man, either we are an incredible team defensively, or something about the rivalry game. Anyway, I'm going on and on, but I'm going to pick Utah because I think they're going to go. They're going to go out and score 40 points and outscore Cincinnati. I mean, just crazy numbers on offense for
yeah.
Utah.
Yeah, I mean, when I first saw our list, I put down Cincinnati as my pick, but as I thought about it and went back and looked, Cincinnati really hasn't played anybody. Like I mentioned earlier in this podcast, their Big 12 schedule actually is way better in the second half. They're actually starting to play the better teams. They have not played a difficult Big 12 schedule. So while I give them credit that they are undefeated in Big 12 play, I just don't know if they're good enough. And Utah, as much as I hate to say it and I hate giving them any credit whatsoever, they're a good football team.
Yeah.
Their defense is incredible. And so I think that this is going to give us a good tell of who Cincinnati is and how good they really are. But I think Utah pulls it out and wins.
Yeah. I'll go back to the comment Houston made. I said it earlier before we started. Are we that good, BYU? You look at what we did to Utah, and you look at it. So Texas Tech and BYU, what they did to Utah. Everybody else, Utah's, like Houston said, 40 points. So, I mean, kudos to the Cougars. I think we got a great team. All right, our big matchup for the week in the top 25, we have Oklahoma at Tennessee. This should be a good one. I wish we had something else in the top 10 besides SEC teams, but hey, you know what? It is what it
There's just
is.
not
You
many
know,
good games
just,
this week, man.
there's just not many good games. But I'm going to go Tennessee at home. Tennessee's playing pretty good. They're not great. I don't think I mean, they're both pretty solid teams. I don't think either one of them are like world beaters, but I'm going to Tennessee because it's at home. Oklahoma struggled a little bit, and I think they kind of pulled it out at the end last week. Wasn't that who? Weren't they at? They lost.
Lost Ole Miss. Yeah.
Ole Miss. They took the lead, and then it went back and forth. Ole Miss ended up beating them. It's going to be a good game with Tennessee, but I'm going to give Tennessee the home field advantage here for the win.
Yeah. I think Ole Miss is a pretty darn good team. I thought Oklahoma hanging with them on the road in Mississippi was pretty impressive. They had a chance to win that game late. Don't know too much about Tennessee, to be quite honest. Haven't watched them, but just basing on how Oklahoma played last week, the SEC is just a tighter race as the Big 12. So I'm actually going to take the Sooners in this one. I think after watching them last week, I think they're pretty good.
Yeah, I think both teams are good. I think they're on equal playing fields, in my opinion. So I think home field advantage helps. Tennessee is one of the hardest places to play in college football. And so I'm going Tennessee.
All right. With the early hour of this, the spreads out there, you don't have a very good indication what's going on.
True.
A little later in the week. However, so looking through those, so the underdog spread this week, I'm looking at what I looked at was Miami at SMU. Miami is a good team. They're playing at SMU. SMU is an 11-point underdog, and it's at SMU. So I'm gonna say that SMU covers. I'm not picking them outright to win. I'm saying SMU covers. That game is closer than 11 points. I think it'll be a battle for them. So SMU covers the 11-point spread.
Yep, I like it. That is incorrect there on the graphic. I should have SMU plus 11 on that one. Sorry, that's Miami's minus 11. But I think it's a good pick. SMU until Wake Forest last week had won 20 straight ACC regular season games, which is incredible.
Crazy.
It's wild.
They are very much still in the ACC race, even with the loss to Wake Forest. So this win here could keep them in that race. So I like that. That's a good pick. I'm going way out in left field here over to the American Conference. We've got a 7-1 North Texas Mean Green going against the Midshipmen. North Texas is 6.5 favorite in this game. I'm going to pick them to win and cover that 6.5. Navy is undefeated. They played well, but North Texas is, I think, all but one game has scored 50 plus almost in every game.
Yeah, they've
So
dominated.
they beat Washington State, I think, 59-13 or something like that.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah, so I'm going to take North Texas to just score a lot of points in this game. So
That's a good pick. To Gordon's point with how early the numbers have come out, I think my game is affected by that pretty drastically. So I'll put an asterisk next to mine that if the numbers change, but my pick is still correct, I won't get 2 points necessarily if Vanderbilt wins. But mine's the Texas Vanderbilt game. Texas is favored 1.5 points to start the spreads early. So technically, I would get 2 points if Vanderbilt won, but with how early the spreads came out, I don't want to cheat the system in that way, shape, or form. But to have Texas be favored in this game is kind of a shot to Vanderbilt, and so I think they come out with a chip on their shoulders. They've proven that they are a very legit team in the SEC, borderline, one of the top dogs in the SEC, and will likely compete for a championship. I don't know what the love is for Texas, but they are struggling, and with Arch Manning going out banged up, I don't think it's going to be close. So I think Vanderbilt wins by a pretty big margin.
yeah, I like it. I think it's a good pick.
Yep.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting. Pretty even across the board here, so it'll come down to our underdogs. It looks like in that Tennessee Oklahoma game to see where the
Yep.
separation comes. Okay. All right. Well, yeah, good pick'ems. I'm excited for this week. So yeah, I'll. Dad, you said you had one more comment you wanted to make real
Yeah,
quick
just
here.
thrown out there next week. It was one of our pick'em games, but the game that I'm looking at that's going to be a big game is this Kansas State Texas Tech game. That is
Yeah.
at Kansas State. Their Kansas State, I think, is on the rebound, so that one will be one to watch. I will not be shocked. Right now, Kansas State, if I saw the line correct, which shocked me, is a like a 4-point favorite, which
Interesting.
interesting. So I don't know. Like I said, that's way early. So but that's one to watch this week. I think that'll go big. That will be huge in what ends up being the conference championship game. Who
Yeah,
goes
and
there?
I think the quarterback situation at Texas Tech may play into that a little bit. We're not really
Probably.
sure
Yep.
who's going to be playing there. So,
Yep.
but yeah, I think the only thing we wanted to mention, I think Jace, I'll send it over to you, but Cougs basketball, Cougs getting the dub over the Tar Heels.
Yeah, we're a podcast of hot takes, and I'm going to give my hot take right here, right now. I want it on the record. I have never in my lifetime ever been this bold, and so people call us delusional fans, and I'll take that on the chin. But I'm going to say it right here, right now. BYU is going to win the national championship this year in college basketball. They are absolutely incredible. Our backups could beat most teams in this college football or college basketball lineup. They're just incredible. So we lost in an exhibition game in Nebraska. Nebraska. They had a power forward that went 7 for 8. From the 3-point line, just shot out of his mind, and that's what kept him in the game. But we didn't even have our starters in at the last second, so obviously we weren't like playing necessarily to win. It was just more of a practice. Rob Wright was out half of the game because of limited minutes. But then we hosted North Carolina at the Delta Center, which felt like a little more of a competition game. There was a lot of NBA scouts there. Wilson on North Carolina felt like he had something to prove. So there was a lot of smack talk going on. And we came in and we put it to him. And I think that the biggest highlight is AJ does not have to score or take over in order for us to be good. We've got the number one player in college football, but he doesn't have to do it all by himself, which is what makes us absolutely incredible. It's a little bit different than a Jimmer-esque type BYU basketball team, which is why I think we have nothing but high expectations for this team. And I will say that we win the Natty.
I think I feel really good about that take, and I will just put my asterisk next to it and highlight this. That is if this team can play as a team. And my biggest concern, and I said this early on when AJ committed to BYU, my biggest concern is going to be how do you deal with the personalities of the top recruits in the country and the top players in the country. We got the number one transfer. We got the number one JUCO guy coming in. We got the number one recruit in the country. We got King Richard. You got to feed. And it is going to be a real testament to this team and to the coaching staff if they can get them to play as a team. Because if this team has to rely on AJ to win games down the road, teams will beat us. Then they will beat us by a lot. So that'll be my caveat there. They have got to play as a team. They have got to get away from the ISO one-on-one NBA whatever. It's still college basketball, and they've got to score across the board. So
make the extra pass. Make the one more, and they will dominate teams.
Yep.
So excited for hoops. Oh my gosh, I'm excited for hoops. But football's not over. We're excited for football. What a time to be a BYU fan.
Yep. So. Yeah. Were you going to comment on that, Dad, at all, the basketball?
I would just echo exactly what you said, Houston. And I think Kebaketa is going to be huge playing into this. But, there were stretches in the North Carolina game where they actually moved the ball around. It looked like a team. That's been the hallmark of BYU basketball. And last year with Kevin Young, it was played in team basketball. So I can't overstate that enough. You've got to play as a team. You got to share the ball. You can't break down and go one-on-one. You just can't do it and win a championship. So, yeah.
Yeah. That's exciting. Yeah, we should have regular season basketball in 2 weeks, if I'm not mistaken.
November 3rd.
November 3rd.
Villanova in Vegas.
That'll be a great game. Yeah, so another good pod, fellas. I mean, it feels good to do a podcast every week after a W, and hopefully that continues for the next 8 weeks.
Keep it going.
Yeah, so anyway, super excited for that. And so look forward in the next couple of weeks. We're going to start throwing the more basketball into the mix. I think they've got another exhibition, if I'm not mistaken, against Clemson, or no?
Nope, their
Clemson
next
is after
game is
Villanova.
The next game is Villanova regular season, November 3rd.
Okay.
Let's go.
So, we'll be there next week coming in. So excited for that, and look forward over on Instagram to our top 3. We will post that from last week, so you guys can interact with that. And we got to keep the scoreboard on that going. So great pod, fellas.
Okay.
Awesome.
Go Cougs.
Go Cougs is right.